Welcome to Wealthy Wednesdays, everybody. Kamari Ellis here. Excuse me. Kamari Ellis here. I am super duper late, but guess what? I'm still here. As always, I promise to you all that I will be here every Wednesday. This Wednesday, I'm not changing that, but I'm super late today. Got caught up in helping my dad work out some issues with some tradesmen on some of the properties that he manages, and that's always fun, right? But my dad has always told me I'm a diplomat to a certain extent. I've had other people tell me I'm like Bishop Desmond Tutu. So, I guess I kind of have that in me to a certain degree. And I tend to be able to work through issues and find common ground that everybody can thrive. So today I'm here to talk about Black wealth and some of the threats that I see to the overall Black wealth movement. But before I get going, y'all know I'm Kamari Ellis. This is the Finance Rebel Show. The whole aim for this show is to make wealth Black again, right? We talk about all things wealth, stocks, bonds, interest, taxes, business, economics. If it's one of those things, if it's about money, if it's about Black people and where they intersect and connect, we talk about it here on the Finance Rebel Show. So before I get going too far, again, I'm running behind getting some stuff together. Let me share this out with a couple of folks and we can get right to it. As folks start to come in, make sure you throw your name up in there, where you're hailing from. And if you have any questions, because Wealthy Wednesdays is all about questions, all about money questions that you may have. So feel free to throw any money question in the chat that you might have, but give me 30 seconds so I can share this out real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me do me a favor while you all are on, right? Share this out, right? Come in and announce yourself. You got to speak to me. We family here, so we do it like family does. When you come in the room, when you come in the building, we all speak, say our greetings. All right. But let's do this real quick. So y'all don't get super bored with me as folks come on again. And my apologies for the late start. All right, y'all. So as we get the liveliness going, I want to talk about some things, right? There's been some things that I've seen in what I call the Black wealth movement that have me pretty concerned, have me pretty alarmed. But it's not just in the Black wealth movement; it's in the overall Black community, neighborhood, nation, whatever you want to call it, right? But amongst Black folks, as we strive to work for equality, and not even equality, forget equality, right? Parity is what we really should be striving for from an economic standpoint, from a political standpoint, from a cultural standpoint. And, there's a lot of things that are troubling me. So I wanted to talk about them tonight. They've been actually on my mind, and I just said I wasn't ready to talk about them yet. But, seeing all the stuff with Grant Cardone and Adam Scott and many, many others. And, it just has me baffled to a certain degree. It's funny. I have a video basically done on the Grant Cardone situation. And the only reason I did it, because I wasn't going to do it because I didn't really think it mattered, was because I've actually been thinking about doing it for years, right? I've seen these shenanigans years ago. And I'm like, why do we keep doing this? Why do we keep allowing this every generation? There's some philanderer, crook, thief that we let into the cookout, and I don't get it. But it's almost like we keep doing the same thing over and over again. But real quick, before I get to what I feel are major threats to the Black wealth movement, I just want to talk about something real quick. So, one of the things I see interesting right now in terms of stock, and I've talked about this before, is Ford. Now, if any of y'all haven't paid attention, they just scored $1 billion. Now, they scored $1 billion from who? They got a contract with the government for all their EV vehicles. And so that just got announced the other day. And, everybody always thinks about Tesla because Tesla is so out there in your face. Their leader, their fearless chief, Elon Musk, is always doing something ratchet and reckless that he stays in the news. So I was really, y'all know I've been talking about Ford for quite some time. I'm looking at some of the comments, y'all, so I got distracted. My bad. Let me pull this up on the screen real quick, and I'm definitely going to get to all the comments. But again, as you're coming in, make sure you announce yourself. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you're from, and we're gonna have a conversation, right? As we always do, as we look to uplift the economic status in our community. So I wanted to show you here, right? Ford post office buys 9,250 electronic vehicles, 14,000. Why is this so out of shape? 14,000 charge stations, right? So this is what the government is doing. Now, if anybody doesn't realize this, the United States government is the biggest buyer in the world. And many people, many Black folks who have obtained 7-figure, 8-figure net worths have been a result of government contracts. Now, on the channel here, on the podcast here, I have several conversations with my homegirl, Serena Thomas Moore, talking about the power of government contracts and building out your business and how Black businesses can use them in their everyday business. So do yourself a favor, search on those channels, search on my channel, not those channels, my channel, the Finance Rebel channel on YouTube and the podcast, and check out some of those. But again, here's another example of how government contracts will generate money and wealth for those who are in position, and everybody can be in position. Now, y'all know I talk about Ford oftentimes from the stock aspect. For the record, I do own a stake in Ford. So what I'm saying can also be skewed, right? Y'all know I'm transparent and always want to give you the truth. But I think they have a great position in the marketplace. So I would suggest you all do your research, because they're not just making money from the government. They're also selling stuff too. And they did just have a disappointing quarter. Getting tongue tied, y'all. They did just have a disappointing quarter. But again, I'm looking at stuff from the long haul, not 2 months. I'm not trading. Y'all know when I talk about stocks, it's always long term, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. All right. But like I said, they made $1 billion. Chrysler's making some money too. But EV is going to go far, and it's not the stop of this all. So let me know, what do y'all think about Ford stock? Drop it in the chat. All right, so as we get going, the main theme tonight is Black wealth, or the threat to Black wealth. But again, before I get to that, I want to just talk about one thing real quick. Tax season is upon us. So March 15th, deadline for S Corps and LLCs. If you file an 1120S or a 1065, make sure you file your taxes now. Make sure you do it now, like now. If you can't do it, file an extension. If you don't or can't file your business returns, your LLCs, and your S Corp returns by March 15th, file an extension, because those fees are hefty. Tell all your LLC friends, Make sure y'all file their stuff, because if not, the IRS will send them a nice, pretty letter with a big bill attached to it. So make sure y'all get on that, all right? Next filing date is April 18th, all right? That's for regular folk to get their taxes done, and a few other entity types, but make sure y'all get y'all taxes done by April 18th. If you cannot file, make sure you file an extension. Remember, a tax extension is an extension to file your paperwork. It is not an extension to pay your bill, though. All right, so you can get in trouble for having a bill or not paying the bill. So if you think you owe, start making payments now. Get that bill down. Don't let the interest accrue and beat you up. All right. So again, back to Black wealth and what I feel a threat to Black wealth is. There's a lot. And as I get going with this, I'll get back to the chat and say what's up to everybody. But there's a lot. I'm afraid that we are not doing enough critical thinking. We're not doing enough research. I mean, there's a myriad of things, right? But those two for me, are like the core thing. And if we're talking about doing anything major, we have to be critical thinkers. And being a critical thinker is not saying, I'm going to hit one, I'm going to rub the dot on the one, and then jump to the two, and then jump to the three, and then go to four in a straight line in a very linear fashion. That's not critical thinking. To me, critical thinking is saying, hey, one then connects to 25, then it connects to 99, and then comes back to one. Because sometimes you got to be able to follow along, and things are not neat like that. History isn't neat. Nothing is really neat when you involve human beings, because human beings are very emotional. But I wanted to point this out. I wanted to talk about this one point. To me, that illustrates this, right? The lack of critical thinking, the lack of reading and research, like real reading and research. So check this clip out from Dr. Claude Anderson and tell me what you think about it in the chat.
Stowe put out her book. What she tried to tell black folk is that Uncle Tom was not a bad guy. See, Uncle Tom, you read that book, and most blacks, 90% of blacks never read it. They always call another black, he's an Uncle Tom, he's an Uncle Tom. He's not an Uncle Tom. If you read the book Uncle Tom was a guy who would not beat black women. Uncle Tom in that book was a guy who would not beat other blacks to make them pick more cotton. Uncle Tom was a guy who would come in at night and take cotton out of his own bag and put it in other black folks' bags so they wouldn't get whippings at night. Uncle Tom was a guy who would not tell where black folk were hiding when they went across the river and they broke free as slaves. But Simon Legree, the white slave master, had a black that followed him around named Sambo, who always says, you show me, give me the right, I'll show you how to trees the coons. I'll show you where they hides. And see, that's the guy. See, his role responsibility was going.
So y'all probably like, why is Kamari showing Dr. Claude Anderson talking about Uncle Tom and Sambo? So I've been a guy all my life. I notice things, right? Nerdy, quirky, whatever you want to call it. I notice things. I notice introspections. So black folks a lot of times always say they want truth. They want transparency. They want honesty, right? But a lot of times we will promote a lie without challenge, without even thinking about it. And we will take that lie and run with it. And so we're always in the fashion and the habit of taking lies and run with it. Does that show critical thinking? Does that show research? Does that show us reading? Now, y'all tell me, has anybody ever read Uncle Tom's Cabin? Has anybody ever thought about, hey, is Uncle Tom really a bad thing? Is Uncle Tom really a hero? Or is he just really a sellout the way everybody puts it? Because everybody uses this term and they use it incorrectly. And we just keep this lie going and going and going. And I know it might sound like a small nuance. But if that's the practice, if we get in the practice of accepting lies, promoting lies, running with lies all the time, What does that do? What does that do? I would say it does a lot of harm. I would say it teaches us that keeping a lie going is okay. And I know. When we're having fun and we're telling stories, a lot of times we exaggerate and we, embellish just to have a little fun. I get that. But when you have something that's so harmful, that tells the wrong story, you got to ask yourself, is this really the right way to go? Now, there's another thing that I feel that Black folks have adopted. And again, y'all might say this is nitpicking, but I hesitate to even bring this up, but I should have brought the clip, but I didn't have a chance to. But Malcolm X's, when he does a speech about house Negroes and field Negroes, and he weaves this wonderful story about how house Negroes are terrible and how they go down the wrong path. But when you dig into history, some of the stuff he said was true, but a lot of times there were house Negroes that were the lookouts for the rebellion, or the lookouts for those that were running away. They were really like Uncle Tom a lot of times. But that story is in our jokes as a community, right? In our admonishments and our criticisms as well. We'll say, you just a house Negro. But none of us has done the history to go back and say, well, the great ancestor, Malcolm X, was talking about a particular thing, but now we've grabbed it, taken it, and remixed it into something totally different. And we have not really taken the time to study and really put it into real context. So I got a lot to talk about. I got a couple other clips I want to go through, but I want to go through and say what's up to everybody. Be respectful. Bawana, how are you? Let's get this money. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome. Akira, how are you, lady? Good to see you. All my folks is in the building. JT Coins is here. How are you doing, JT? Yes, Bawana. Yes, shout out to Omawali Africa for introducing to this platform. Shout out to Omawali Africa. I had a great time with that. Actually, so much I wanted to go back and I was going to do a show just recapping of that because I thought it was a great episode. It was powerful. Got a lot of good feedback. Got a lot of great comments. I'm making some new friends, building the clan over here. So yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you. And if y'all have not watched that, that is the episode of Black Wealth versus Black History. So check that out. All right, Community Solutions Pro 1 says, I am always suspicious of people who tell you not to buy real estate, yet they're buying real estate. So you might hear me say that, not in the same context though, because I'm really big about doing what's best for you at any given moment, what's best for your strategy. And what happens is a lot of times we get herd mentality. We all want to line up as sheep and just follow everybody else. Where your path, your journey, your God-given gifts, abilities, and talents may not be for you to buy real estate at any given time. It might be to learn a craft or a skill. It might be to start a business. It might be to go back to school. So, that gets a little crazy. I don't think that's what you're talking about, but I just want to be transparent because I, on note, have said that you might not want to put all your eggs in owning real estate, especially residential real estate, because so many of us believe that just owning residential real estate is the way to go. So we can talk more about that. All right. So Awana says Elon's marketing campaigns are good, but not sure if the Tesla stock is. I guess they're good for short-term stuff. I mean, Tesla does have a good product. I'm not a fan of dude though. I don't like people who are I don't like people that like to hype things up and the hype is not really hyping, if that makes sense. If the hype really doesn't have anything to back it up. So I don't know, like he promoted Doge and various other crypto coins and then sold them off to make money, and I just thought it was disingenuous. All right, the Community Solutions Pros from LA. LA's in the building. All right. Still rocks. Did you change your name? I done got so used to saying the whole thing. Is that Big Daddy Still Rocks? Did you change the name to just Still Rocks? All right, Bawana says, got to do my research on Ford. Yes, listen, I say it all the time. Some of y'all have brought Ford just because I talked about Ford. I don't want nobody blindly buying shit that I talk about. Facts, like do your research. Because when it goes bad, I'm going to go bad on my own. I'm going to lose money on my own. But my timeline, when I'm buying Ford, I don't plan on selling it. So I can afford a bounce back. And I'm only buying a little bit at a time, dollar cost averaging, a little bit at a time, building positions, right? But your circumstances are not my circumstances, and my circumstances are not your circumstances. So it might not be wise for you to do that. I know everybody likes to just jump all in and throw everything in it, and money wise, that's not always a good thing. Sometimes just the nibble at it, get a little bit at a time, and then go at it with it. So, but yes, do your research. Do your research. And bring the research back and let's talk about it. Man, my boy Anthony's in the building. Anthony, you was on early today. Everybody go follow About That Wallet. It's got a great podcast. Good evening to you, sir. I'm talking about good afternoon. Were you in Cali now? Anthony says, I didn't get a notification you were live. Do you have the notifications turned on for my channels? Remember, I got two. I got the Finance Rebel channel and I had the Finance Rebel podcast YouTube channel as well. All right, Todd's Mac, if I'm saying your name wrong, Mayak, I believe it is. Correct me on that. I don't like saying people's names wrong. I think the first level of respect we all got to do is at least strive to say each other's name right. All right, so Todd says, you ever notice how Dr. Claude Anderson stuff, none of it was ever on mainstream media, not even clips for BT. No, he wasn't. And he's not mainstream palatable. Now, I'm guessing I'm probably older than most of the people in the audience, in my 40s. I know about Dr. Claude because I had the opportunity to do an event here in Philadelphia, or the company I was with at the time sponsored an event with Dr. Claude. This was 2006, 2007. He was still talking that same shit, like not shit negatively, like he's been consistent. He's been saying the same things. And he really puts it where the goats can get it. Like, I don't agree with everything he says, but strong 95%. Strong 95%. I really rock with Dr. Claude. But you got to remember, mainstream, well, BT technically isn't even really mainstream. It just kind of became mainstream after Bob Johnson and his wife. Many people forget about his wife. Sold their stake for billions, a couple billions of dollars, right? To Viacom. BET is not black owned, folks. And so it wouldn't do numbers. Dr. Claude would not do numbers on BET. The importance of doing numbers is to get ads and get sponsorship. So Bob Johnson has talked about this. He tried to have political talk on there. He had like Tavis Smiley, and a few others. Ed Gordon's a G, by the way. So is Tavis. Check out some of Ed Gordon's old interviews. You can find him on IG. He does a lot on IG, but said he couldn't get viewership. That's why he went to video so tough. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. All right, Still Rock says, I haven't read it yet. Okay. You haven't read what yet? Tell me what you're talking about. Todd, okay, y'all talking in the chat. Yeah, Todd, the man worked for the Carter administration. Yes, he did. Carter and Clinton. You can't get more mainstream than that. All his actions were documented publicly. They were, but I know what Todd means. He's not on TV. He's not on the media circuit. I totally get what he means. Starbucks says definitely a lot of us run with information we haven't researched for ourselves. Yes. Okay, you were talking about Uncle Tom's Cabin. Now I got you. No, we don't. We don't. Anthony says they won't share that. It's it's not clickbaity enough. Okay, I get you. I get you. Back lady, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. My folks in the house. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don Johnson in the building. What up, Don? How you doing, brother? Always got to give Don the horns because Don's like always promoting black folks, always promoting black wealth. He good brother right there. I got to meet you one day, sir. All right, Todd says on the wall he's different. Why'd you say it like that? He's different. What's that mean? All right, Rwanda says irrational exuberance. Okay. Still Rock says good evening. Yep, herd mentality. We got to watch out for that. And listen, we're all human. We're all suspect to it. Okay, Still Rock says I changed the name. It started off weird when commenting on different channels. Listen, man, just be you, brother. You know, me and Anthony made a joke out of it. Made it fun. Now you messing up my skit. But it's all good. All right, Anthony says I did my last live show for a few months tonight. So I'll try to catch your show. Okay. All right, Anthony. I got to find out why you're not doing live shows no more. All right, so got the housekeeping out the way, right? So let's get back into this. Why do I feel, or what do I feel is the biggest threat, or some of the biggest threats to the Black wealth movement, all right? So we talked about critical thinking, right? Major problem. But I want to go into this piece here.
You have made, as a race, you made every religion, every ethnic group, every racial group rich. There is nobody else left on earth to make rich but yourselves.
Now, I'm going to play that again.
You have made, as a race, you made every religion, every ethnic group, every racial group rich. There is nobody else left on earth to make rich but yourselves.
Or we can continue to make other people rich as well. And I think that's the trend we're going to be on for a while. Hopefully not. Hopefully we will wake up. But I still find it interesting that you'll see all these social media folks promoting all these super materialistic, consumeristic type things. And they say they're for Black wealth, but they rarely promote Black business. They rarely promote conscious consumerism. They rarely promote any of that. Oh, use this tax code, use this tax loophole just so you can buy a G-Wagon. Oh, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. We're going to spend a whole bunch of money, take it out of our business, buy a car, an asset that's depreciating, then get a tax write-off. But one, that's stupid, right? You should never make a business decision just for a tax write-off. It should make a good business decision and be a good tax write-off. I have a 3-part rule, right? First rule, does it make business sense for you, right? Can you afford it? Rule number 1. Rule number 2, does it work with your overall strategy? Your overall long-term strategy. And then rule number 3 is then are you or will it produce a tax benefit for you? If you can't get 3 out of 3, you shouldn't do it. Now, for the record, I didn't announce it on this show, but I am a tax accountant. I was also a financial advisor, also an institutional money manager, selling stocks and bonds for high net worth individuals and corporations, right? So I have not only the education and the experience and the exposure to talk about these things, I've worked in just about every aspect of personal finance and small business. And why do most businesses go out of business? Because they lack capital. But some of our biggest and brightest so-called Black wealth advocates promote us to do dumb shit with our money. I don't get it.
It's only entertainment.
But again, it's only entertainment. So that's why they do it. They do it for the clout. They do it for the numbers. And I will grant it, my idea of black wealth is not everybody's idea of black wealth, right? My idea of black success is not the same idea of everybody's black success. And yes, we should allow room and space for all of those. But then there's things that just make no damn sense. None whatsoever. I mean, am I the only one that feels like this? Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one that feels like this. Do y'all feel like this? Do y'all feel like most of or a lot of what's going on in the black wealth space is scammy and materialistic just to get money from people or separate them from their pocketbooks and their wallets to sell some other kind of Europeanized brand? Is it me? Am I the crazy one? I don't know. I don't know. All right, Todd says, I think some of the Pan-African revolutionary types would demonish Dr. Claude Anderson and others as simple radical integrationist and or only black capitalists. And I see that theme a lot in that circle. Yes, I would agree with that. But I also feel that a lot of times we don't allow room for both, an either or an and. Like things only have to be one or the other. It's white or black. It's on or off. They never allow for the gray, or what I like to call the color, right? Life isn't black and white. It's just not. And you got to be able to navigate things. That's why I said, things are not linear. So you can be a Pan-Africanist or a black nationalist and be a black capitalist as well. Problem is when it's going back to critical thinking that many of our ancestors adopted, let's say, notions of what socialism and communism is. And they felt that was the only way to go because that was what was going on during that time. Right? The only comparison he had was America. And America has always been super sketch. Right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But things have changed to a certain degree. But right now, 2023, we probably had the best opportunity we've ever had to put our stake in the flag in the sand, put our stake in the ground and mark out what's ours. Will there be opposition to that? Always, of course. Everything is going to be easy, then you got something else coming. But we can make money anywhere around the world right here. And we don't have to stay in the US. We can move. We can do other things, right? So, again, coming back to critical theory, coming back to research, coming back to reading and comprehending, because I can't talk about research and reading without comprehension. My dad used to say something a long time ago. He denies it now, or he don't remember it. But he said most people are functional illiterates. And I didn't get it at the time. I get it now. People, sadly, I feel in our community, education does not have a high enough place in the culture. And sometimes we look at nerds and we look at geeks and we kind of put them down. All the while not really going to the real root of it is that I think a lot of people weren't able to really understand how to read and get real reading comprehension. And so they felt inferior or lacking a lot of times. And so I think they took that out on a lot of people. Now that's just my thought. What do y'all think about that? But I'm wondering what people are reading. I don't even want to talk about the red pill community and this whole anti-woman, anti-black woman podcast movement that's going on out here. Like, it's really scary. Excuse me, y'all. It's really scary. I needed some water. It's really scary in my opinion. Because it seems like folks are just getting microphones and some lights and just talking just for the sake of talking. And they usually use black women as a scapegoat. And I think that's really evil and really bad. But On the flip side, to be fair, there's a lot of sisters doing the same thing too. So it's like this form of discourse in media that we're kind of going after. I'm just wondering, like, what in the world is going on? But I don't know. All right, so Don Johnson, all right, hold on. Anthony has something. He said, horizontal wealth. Break that down, Anthony. Horizontal wealth in what terms? Anthony says, I feel we keep focusing on legacy, but I like the transferable wealth. What do I mean by that? I buy a house, my brother's a realtor. My mother stays at home. Yes, that is definitely horizontal. Well, you know what? Depends on how far you go. It could also be vertical. Because if your brother starts building a house and then you got another brother that sells the house and then you got a mom that stages the house, that's vertical. So horizontal would be y'all buy the house and then y'all buy another house and y'all got the same realtor, but it's all housing, kind of speak. Don Johnson says, hell yeah, the relationship content is super scammy. A lot of y'all still following these people. All these relationship experts ain't got no relationship experience and straight out of 5 divorces. But hey, that's what y'all love. That's what y'all like. I get it.
It's only entertainment.
But some of y'all take this as real life gospel. And that's what gets really scary. All right, Community Solutions Pro 1 says that doesn't seem to be long-term wealth building. I do see more Black-owned products going mainstream, for example, getting on the shelves in major retailers. Yeah, we're seeing that. We're seeing corporations come after the Black dollar a lot more heavily through putting some Black folks on. If you look back, that's a tactic. Now, I'm not trying to put down the corporations that have done this, but I also don't believe that they have the Black community's best interest at heart either. Right? 2 things can happen at the same time. Totally opposite. But you got to be able to milk it for what it is. It's going to get more people in the doors at Target. They got something hot and popping. Who always makes things hot and popping? Black folks. All the time. Right? So, I mean, I think it's good. I mean, Carol's daughter, she had that skincare brand a few years ago. She was making it into the shelves of some major retailers. Got some major investors, Jay-Z and Will Smith and the like, which is great. Then she wound up selling out, and I don't mean selling out in a derogatory term. She wound up selling. The rigors, the demand, the stress was a lot. I mean, so it happens. But again, as a community, if we are not able to foster good reading comprehension, good research, good critical research, what are we really producing? Is everything about the drip? Is everything about getting fresh? Is everything about having that new luxury vehicle that 99.99% of the time is really hurtful to your business? I mean, we all act like we got it. The data don't say that. And when I say got it, it means like we're rich, like we're good off. Data don't show that. For Black folks, they say the median income is somewhere between $30,000 and $40,000 a year. Have y'all seen the cost of food, gas, and shelter? I mean, everybody's been complaining about eggs. I mean, I was like, well, I just bought some eggs. They were like $5, but I didn't realize eggs were like less than $1 before. So that's a hell of a jump. And all these things are starting to creep in on us. So we are always thinking of being consumers and spenders. We never take the time to truly become creators, developers, investors. And the creators, developers, investors, and builders are the ones that make things happen. So, all right, I want to go to this next piece. I don't want to keep y'all too late.
The question is, how do you define wealth? Is wealth your ability to go to the store and buy a garment, some shoes, a car, a flat screen TV? Is that really wealth? Wealth does not start from access to material things. Wealth starts with your possession of knowledge. If we don't possess knowledge that guides us into how to create wealth, then we'll talk about wealth, but we'll never have it because we don't have the requisite knowledge that would allow us to be a creator of wealth.
Shout out to the minister. So, again, if your whole aim is just to be materialistic and consumers, you're never really putting yourself in a position to create true wealth, real wealth that endures, that lasts, that recreates itself at the time, over time. And I mean, I think the minister makes a great point, right? How do you define wealth? Now, if y'all know, if y'all been rocking me for a while, I don't talk about money just for the sake of having big cars and chains and luxury European clothing and things. I'm talking about getting wealth so we can get books and schools and pay for other schools and pay for businesses and pay for infrastructure. That's totally different. So when I tell folks I am a capitalist, I'm a black capitalist, that's why I'm a black capitalist. A lot of people don't even understand what capitalism is or means. They think it's about imperialism. They confuse it oftentimes, right? Because that's what the United States has done. They've been imperialists all across the world, reigning terror. But you got to understand what the two was. When Adam Smith talked about creating wealth in nations, I don't even think he even ever used the term capitalism, right? But capitalism is really about private ownership. Who owns it? Who doesn't own it? Now, if y'all know anything about history and the history of black people, anytime we've had over-government or over-government insight into black folks, it's usually not been a good thing. Communism and socialism have what? A lot of government overreach, a lot of government control. And yes, in certain places, capitalism and socialism make sense. But I don't think it's a mecca for black folks. Again, I can see why Fred Hampton talks so vehemently against communism. Against capitalism in the 60s, before he was assassinated, before he was murdered. I see why. Right? Because you do the history, you do the research, you get the context and the situation, the positioning of the people at that time. But as we come forward, we look and say, all right, where are we positioned now? It's not a static thing. So we want to stay like we were in the 60s. Yeah, you could say socialism and communism was the move. Maybe. Then, is it really now? I don't think so. I really don't want the government controlling too much of my stuff, because in communism and socialism, everything is run by the government. In capitalism, everything's run by the owners. By the way, most people don't even know what capitalism is. They've never seen it. If that was true, public school would not be public. Roads would not be free. Water would not be as cheap as it is. Ladies and gentlemen, right now we are having a water shortage around the globe. Less than 1% of the Earth's water is drinkable. Most of y'all still have access to tap water, drinking water, and we all take it for granted, myself included, right? So when I look at these things, I'm also looking at myself and my role and everything. But you got to ask yourself, do I want to go somewhere where the government always controls the access to water? Now the government and the United States has some control over the water because it's regulated. but usually it's a more judicious system. And so government can't just say we're going to cut off water. You see that in places around the globe that are not quote unquote capitalistic places. So, I'll say all that. We got to go deeper, y'all. We got to think harder. We got to research more. And we got to take time to say, you know what? I researched this once. I read this book once. I need to go back and read it again. And then I need to go back and read it again. Just like a movie. I'm a big movie buff. I'll watch movies 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6, 7, 10 times. Anytime I see The Matrix on, I watch it. I'll get something from it different every time. Same thing from a book. Read it once, you get something. Read it twice, you get something. Read it the third time, you might get something different. So we got to be deep readers, comprehenders, and researchers. And then executing. Because it's not just enough to learn. It's like, what are we learning for? Got to do something with it. Got to do something with it. Now, I want to talk about this clip here.
Nothing that you can get involved in that history won't be an asset for. And the key to history of no matter what it is reading. And so once I realized that I said, I'm gonna read about anything that I want to know, I'm gonna read about it. And I just read my way out of every situation that I've ever been in.
Being a student of the game.
You're well read, and we have your book now to read and also learn from, man. What are you most proud of about the book?
The ability for the book to show people, younger people and other people, how far we've come and how important it is for us to read and find out and know our history. That's what this is. This is a book about the history of at the bottom. What it's like to be at the bottom and rise up from the bottom. That's what I wanted to
conquer the world.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't really introduce that clip well, but that's Dapper Dan, the man Dapper Dan. If y'all don't know who Dapper Dan is, he's kind of seen a resurgence, but he's the guy, the fashion designer that's really made a lot of the luxury brands pop in the Black community. From your Gucci's to your Fendi's to your Louis V's, all of them. Back in the 80s and 90s, he would make clothing for a lot of cats. From the Eric B. and Rakims, from their famous Paid in Full album when they got I want to say it was Fendi or LV. I'm not sure which brand it was, but they had on his jackets, Big Daddy Kane, Big Wear, LL, Mike Tyson wore a lot of his stuff. Then the big houses said, oh, this guy is infringing on our trademarks and patents, shutting down, went underground. Then he made a resurgence. And some of the big brands brought him back. And now he's doing collabos with The Gap. His book is phenomenal. I recommend everybody read it. Or listen to it, whichever way you want to do it. But great book. And I feel he makes a great point. So much so, I actually want to play it back again.
There's nothing that you can get involved in that history won't be an asset for. And the key to history of no matter what it is reading. And so once I realized that I said, I'm gonna read about anything that I want to know, I'm gonna read about it. And I just read my way out of every situation that I've ever been in.
Read my way out of every situation I've ever been in. A lot of people poo-poo reading, y'all. I don't know where you can go and get a year's worth, 5 years worth, 10 years worth of a person's research and genius all bundled into one. And you can read it in the span of days, sometimes hours, days, weeks. Some books are 2,000 plus pages, right, or months. But usually you can have something that came out good for that. Now, are many of y'all familiar with Dapper Dan? Were many of y'all familiar with him? Have y'all seen his work? Familiar with his story? I find his story utterly remarkable. I'm so impressed by it. I'm so impressed by Black genius across the board, though. So if you're black and you do something great, I'm usually impressed. Usually. I'm always impressed if you do that. But I mean, what do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? Some of the stuff, I'm not seeing us read. And when we are reading, I'm not seeing us comprehend. And we are reading and comprehending, we're only looking at maybe one source or one part of it, right? I don't see us going real deep and getting mastery over a lot of these subjects. And that's important. And again, I know I'm an older cat, right? I know a lot of y'all are younger. A lot of the people that are watching the replays will be younger. But there is really something into really knowing, understanding, and comprehending a thing. Because once you got it, you got it. It can come into you in many different forms and colors, but if you got it, if you understand it, you got it. And that's why I believe history is so important to understand, right? Because a lot of the same things that happened in the past are happening now and will happen again in the future. Same thing like fashion, right? It just keeps recycling. Same thing with racism. It just keeps recycling. Like some of the stuff, again, we're seeing Dilbert creator Adam Scott just saying craziness, right? But if you hadn't seen folks talk that crazy before, it's new to you. If you've been around the block a couple times, it's like another crazy white guy is here again. What to do with it? Eunice Williams, how are you? Welcome. Yes, Dapper Dan is amazing. Yes, he is. All right, Community Solutions Per One says, yes, I remember Dapper Dan. Check his book out, y'all. Incredible story. All right, so, am I wrong? Do y'all see people reading? Do y'all see people comprehending? And this isn't just young folks, right? We blame young folks for far too much shit. They get a lot of it from us and the generations before us. I don't know if any of y'all remember there was an anti-drug commercial back in the day, 80s, 90s, something like that. And the kid started doing drugs and Pop was like, what are you doing? Where are you getting this from? How you learn this? And he said, I learned about watching you. These generations have learned about watching us. We have not set good examples. How many of us are reading to our children? How many of us are promoting reading? How many of us are promoting education? We have this whole anti-college movement now. I don't even think they understand the damage that they're doing. And yes, I understand college cost is through the roof. And yes, I understand that student loan debts are through the roof. I have student loans myself, but I'm thankful that I went to college. Also, I totally understand that if we're talking about making room for ourselves, for Black people, and in this society, most of the jobs that shape this society and control this society require college, some way, shape, form, or fashion. And again, I'm not saying everybody has to go to college, but there's a lot of geniuses out there that should. And we need to give them more help, support, encouragement, because we need those people like the Thurgood Marshalls, like the Charles Hamilton Houstons. Anybody know who Charles Hamilton Houston is? Put it in the chat if y'all know who Charles Hamilton Houston is. Right? We need those people. It's the day after Black History Month ended, but y'all know I talk Black history every day. Some way, somehow, something. It lives in me. And yes, I believe in Black History Month being supported and built up and being more and more and more. But if we don't understand these things, if we're not looking at the nuance of it and the intricacy of it, we'll get lost. We just saw civil rights being challenged. It's always being challenged, actually, right? We just saw Roe versus Wade, right? Abortion, women's rights being overturned after 50 years. What does that tell you? It ain't sweet. Nothing sweet. All right, Eunice says she's great. Okay. Absolutely awesome. All right, Still Rock says, man, you didn't change your name back. But Still Rock says, when I was in school, I never read, studied to comprehend. I only read to hold enough knowledge for tests. Yes, we are all like that. We are all like that. But that's called programming. We have to actively fight against the programming, reject the programming, and get down to the base of it, to the real knowledge. Because, yeah, you do have to test a little bit to show proficiency. There's got to be some kind of way to do it quickly, because school systems don't have a whole lot of money, right? So rote, R-O-T-E, rote learning is one of the most, it's the predominant way of teaching, right? Can you recite A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Can you type cat, dog, hat, things like that? I get it. But again, when you think about it, right, everything it's not always linear. Rote's kind of a linear type thing. Critical thinking understands that, again, ball might be balls, B-A-L-L-Z instead of S, right? It can come on different takes, different sizes, colors, dimensions. It's not necessarily stagnant. It expands and grows. So it's not just about being able to do a certain thing. And I'm not saying just to go to school, just to be able to recite some things. I'm talking about actually knowing and getting it, comprehending it. All right, so Eunice says, when my kids were still in my stomach, I read to them. Salutes to you, Eunice. To this day, they love to read. My kids start reading around the age of 2 and 3. Now my grandkids already are reading at a young age. Salutes. Ladies and gentlemen, that is generational wealth. Many people don't say that, but listen, you are watching the Finance Rebel Show. All right, we do this every week on Wednesdays, 8 o'clock. Today I was a little late. All right, do me a favor, like, comment, and share this. If you know other people who want to talk about and think about some of the threats to the Black Wealth Movement, that is tonight's topic. All right, so I want to check this piece out.
I think because we have undercounted ourselves and underestimated ourselves, we've quite forgotten that we were never a minority. As 1 billion African people on the face of the earth, we can create industries overnight if we decided that we don't wear no underwear we don't make. We don't eat no food that don't come from one of our farms. We don't sleep on no mattresses we don't make. We don't bury our loved ones in any coffins we don't make. We take the coffin industry away from the mafia. We've forgotten our great potential as a people.
Damn it, I was muted for all that. Damn. Oh, man. So basically, I just read this bullshit. Damn. Oh man, what part did I go? I miss. Well, this is live, y'all. This is clearly live. All right, Mr. A is in the building. I don't think you're here before. What's up? How are you? Gotta at least acknowledge you. Yeah, I think I was probably saying some good stuff. Damn it. All right, shout out to all y'all who at least stayed around and said no sound. No sound. All right, let me go back to this real quick, right? Because Dr. Clark said some stuff. He said the draws that we wear, if we making it, we should be buying it. And that's who we should be buying our draws from. Northern Bell, how are you, man? Good to see you. I ain't seen you in a while. All right, Pilar, I'm not going to give you too much energy because you're spouting bullshit. If you know anything, Bayard Rustin was a major architect, and yes, he was gay. So what? Right? Who cares? It's 2023. There's always been gay people on this planet. I know there's some black folks that don't appreciate gay folks and say there's a movement. I liken it to what happened when Who's Coming to Dinner came out. They saw Sidney Poitier all hugged up to that white woman and they ain't like it. Same thing. People get over it. Life goes on. But let's get back to what we were talking about before. So
I think because we have undercounted ourselves and underestimated ourselves, we've quite forgotten that we were never a minority. As 1 billion African people on the face of the earth, we can create industries overnight if we decided that we don't wear no underwear we don't make.
So do y'all understand that point? That point is, if it ain't from us, we shouldn't rock it. That's how serious we got to be. Now, I understand from a practical standpoint, that might not be ready or able to be done at this very moment, but we can get pretty close to it. It's not like underwear manufacturing is rocket science or really far out the way. I don't think we really just thought about it.
We don't eat no food that don't come from one of our farms. We don't sleep on no mattress that we don't make. We don't bury our loved ones in any coffins we don't make. We take the coffin industry away from the mafia.
He's talking heavy right now.
We've forgotten our great potential as a people.
So as he said, we've forgotten our great potential as a people, but everything he just listed was basic things, predictable things, things that are going to be needed in life. You need draws, you need food, you need coffins, right? I don't know where everybody is at. I mean, this isn't new. The Nation of Islam has been talking about this forever. The UNIA and Marcus Garvey has been talking about this forever. All right, Miss, let's try this. You must be a Russian bot. So, all right, the Russian bots have come in the building. So that must means I'm doing something. The algorithms are letting these folks through. So do me a favor, y'all. If y'all can help me out, y'all like what I'm doing, like, comment, and share this. Because every now and again, we will get the bot spams, all the KKK bot people, all the skinhead bots online will have come and attacked my shows before and just spam the hell out of my shows. And so it's crazy. Yep. So we got more. So I find this utter hilarious. What's funny is, right, real quick, I'm always miffed by some of these black Republicans that always say black people are on the Democratic plantation. And the reason why I'm miffed is because if you've listened and you've studied any of the great ancestors, especially Malcolm X, you'll know that neither one party is good for us, have been good for us, right? And then, but you have these black Republicans that say these things, these sound bites. They get these sound bites and they repeat them over and over and over again. But they never look at the damage the Republicans have done. But at this very moment, the Republicans are doing damage and going after civil rights and human rights and women's rights against black folks. So I believe that my ancestors, especially Malcolm, would say that, he said it before, switch parties, vote in the block, make them work for your vote and your money. Because politics is about money, y'all. Don't be confused. Politics is about money. And so, yeah, this lady calls me a race hustler. It's funny. She has no idea who I am, if it indeed is a woman. Tarot Destroyed, it says Tarot Destroyed. I'm not sure if it's man, woman, or binary or fluid. Don't want to offend anybody. But they push these agendas, but the agenda is never black. It's about these parties. Right. Again, I believe my ancestors would say, Kamari, take a critical look at which one of these parties are doing and how it affects black folks. And from an ideological standpoint, you shouldn't be for either one of them. But when it's time to move and trying to vote and time to do things, you got to move and vote. That's where it goes back to being a critical thinker, a good researcher, comprehending what you're reading. All right, so you're not here to really be a part of this conversation. What is this comment here? Higher deaths from disease, accident. Hold on, I got something wrong. Let me get this down here. Higher deaths from disease, accidents, and crime combined, blacks are disproportionately impacted by. See, that's wrong. That's bullshit. I know that off the top of my head. Black people are mostly impacted, heavily impacted, not by crime or abortion. Look at heart disease. Look at heart attacks. But y'all, you're not going to talk about that because you're just here like the devil to steal, kill, and destroy. So bye-bye. Don't need to be bothered with you. Dre Hardin gave me $10, right? And then he says, bro, I hate your voice, but your content is understandable and it always deserves a super chat. Thank you, man. You hate my voice? Okay. I mean, that's fair. That's honest, right? It's funny. I have a lot of female clients, and they'll share their stuff with their husbands. And they're like, I don't want to listen to him. Only women want to listen to him. I digress. I don't agree, but that's what I've heard said. But, I take it all in stride. Much love to you too, bro. I'm sorry you hate my voice. I can't change it, though. There's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. All right, let's go. I missed out on a couple things. All right, so, Don was giving me a cue. Said I was muted. Damn it. Still mad at that. All right, Bell gives me the piece. Angela's here. Hey, Angela. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, Northern Bell says I've been in the hospital for a month. Car accident. Damn, sorry about that, sis. Good to see y'all. I'm very blessed to be black. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're in good spirits. Sending you love and light as well. Hope you get better. Wisdom Bar says the ancestor spot on. I think he meant the more we have our industries, the better off we will be. Yes, that's exactly what he meant. Right? That's exactly what he meant. Talking about John Henry Clark. Dr. John Henry Clark, put some respect on his name. He absolutely means the more that we have, especially from our basic needs, our everyday needs that we're going to need and that we're going to use. Why spend that money anywhere else? And if we don't have access to those things, those resources right now, why are we building to get those? All right. So Eunice says, my husband and I are business owners, and we try when possible to buy black. Shout outs to you. This year, our goal is to try to find every avenue that we can buy the block. I'm guessing that was what I say. About buying black. I encourage all of you to buy this book. I don't make any money off this book. I'm not a race hustler, as the racist bot said. Our Black Year by Maggie Anderson. Great book. Sister from Chicago. You can Google her, you can find it, right? But I encourage a lot of you all to read that book. Read about her journey, how she decided one year to buy entirely black, right? You can't change your mortgage company or your car note people or anything like that, but she made a decision, a conscious decision to buy from grocery stores, black owned. I believe she found a black owned gas station. Those are very rare, at least in my part of town they are. Black doctor, black accountant. Her husband's a black financial advisor. She did all that. We can do the same. If we get more and more people that are ingesting some good information and implementing that information, implementing, executing, are key to doing these things. So we got to learn stuff and then put it in action. So it's not just enough to read a thing. All right. All right. Let's see where I be, y'all. Give me 1 second. Un momento. All right, Bell says so true. I wasn't borrowing. The people are focused on the bag and spending it on luxury things. Yeah. And I get it. Oppressed people a lot of times want to go for the things that make them feel good or think that make them feel good. All right, Mr. A says, toughest part about it takes people to believe white ice isn't colder than black ice, as Dr. Claude Anderson will say. Takes a whole mind shift. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The question is, the way we help speed up that mind shift is we start talking about it. We ain't got to be dogmatic, right? We ain't got to, it took me a long time to master that because my friends will call me, come on, Malcolm Farrakhan, if y'all remember that line from Boys in the Hood. I get called that quite often. But at a gathering, just ask, where do you buy black-owned goods from? What is your favorite black-owned store? Do you have a black dentist, a black doctor? And I don't even have everything black. I'm trying to get there, but I got a lot black, right? How do you keep moving the needle every chance you get? It's about progression. There are no absolute solutions. It's about progression and moving forward every chance you get. All right, Akira says, why is it that we don't push creation of lobbying groups for our people instead of always looking at parties? Akira, where you been? I was just talking about lobbying. You always here. You ain't never heard me talk about lobbying groups. I'm almost sure I talked about lobbying groups sometime in the month of February during Black History Month, talking about the miseducation of the Negro. I might be wrong though, but I know I've talked about it. Right, there's one party, the racist party. I mean, again, it's more nuanced than that, but I ain't got no love for neither one of them. And again, shout out to Drake for the super chat. Sorry you hate my voice. Maybe I can get like a voice modifier. Would y'all like that? All right, nothing about, but that's true. Two, the blind loyalty is not where it's at. No, it's not. But don't be disingenuous and intellectually dishonest and saying, oh, you're on a Democratic plantation, as if the Republicans don't have a plantation. So, it's just be honest. Just say you got a couple of white Republicans that's been hooking you up with some money. Akira says, tell her to go away. The woman that go into abortion clinics non-black tend to make their race as black. What? Tell her go away. Got that? The woman that goes into abortion clinics non-black tend to mark their race as black. Oh, got it. That's why you got to read things twice sometimes so you can comprehend people All right, if you go into those clinics or park across the street and monitor them, you will notice who. I never thought about that. I'm not surprised though. Not surprised. Really goes to those clinics and high numbers. I can believe it. You and Jada Kiss on Raspy Versus. Aha! I can't hit it. I love Jada's voice though. And I love his ad-libs. All right, nothing else says thank you. I'm much better and getting better every day. All right, make sure you stretch. Make sure you stretch. Yes. So we're talking about Maggie Anderson, Our Black Year. Actually, I believe Maggie had two. She had two. You know what? I'm gonna do a review on that because she had two. What? You're back? I thought I blocked you. Black babies are expendable. Yeah, no shit by the government. I always thought they were expendable. It's funny, there was a eugenics program that was in play in North Carolina up until the 70s. So yeah, we know. But I think I'll do a review of that, Dre. It's about time. And I'll tie it into the book as well. Yeah, she's bugging. Yes, and Malcolm X said, we have no friends. No friends. But as we get ready to depart, I want to play this last clip for y'all.
You need to surround yourself with people who are going to stimulate, inspire, and lift you up, who are going to give you energy and not take energy away from you. And if you're around people who are taking energy away from you, that's an energy drain. And that is the sign from your instinct, your inner voice, your intuition to say, let them go.
I want to play that again, right? Because some of the things we got to look at is our energy. I'm not trying to get woo-woo on y'all, but energy is real. And there are energy vampires out here that will suck the living daylights out of all your energy and won't care that you have nothing left to do and work on your God-given gifts, abilities, and talents. Just for them, that's all they care about. Right, but the more we can work on our gifts, abilities, and talents, right, I call it the GAT, the more you'll be able to help your people. So it's twofold, right? You know, everybody's always talking about I'm an individual, but it's really hard to be truly an individual without the covering of your group, because groups tend to help shape the individual, good or bad, for good or for bad. Right. And y'all know I just tongue twisted, excuse me. Y'all know I just sat here and talked about how education isn't a high enough priority. But in our community, amongst certain groups of people, it is a very high priority. Your job is to get around a group of people that you want to be like, that you have similar values to, that you have similar goals to. And, you know, sometimes that can be challenging, but it's important to find your tribe, because yes, there's many clans and many tribes amongst our nation, and all of them are not the same. And that's okay. Just like any other people, right? They all have different groups that rock different ways. The thing is, a lot of them they figure out what things to have in common goals, common interests. And they rally around those things, and they put other things aside, and they protect those things, and they fight for those things, period. That's it. So, you know, I thank you all for being here tonight. I know I got started late. Again, do me a favor, like, comment, and share this. I will be back. And do me a favor, I'm trying to approach 7,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. If you appreciate the content that I make and want me to make more, number one, let me know what you would like to see me cover. Number two, drop a subscribe on the YouTube channel, on the Finance Rebel YouTube channel. Until next week, y'all, I will see y'all again, if not sooner. Later.